Namaste, everyone. Welcome to the Cārvāka podcast. This is your host, kushalmehra. All right, time for our customary cricket podcast. And as always, to talk about it, I have with me Aadit. Aadit, welcome.
Hello, Kushal. Good morning, good evening, wherever you guys are in the world, or good night if you're watching us streamed later. How are you?
Yeah,
How's everyone doing?
yeah, it's morning here. Where I am, it's where you are. It's morning, and where in India, I think अभी 7:30 बजे होंगे रात के. So evening
Uh,
है इंडिया वालों के लिए. But I have to say it was a very good Asia Cup, and it was very good because Pakistan हार गया.
नहीं नहीं to take the silsila of bad jokes a little further, it's morning here, it's morning there, अब वो है. The problem is, देखो, पाकिस्तान हार गया, and we can laugh about it and all that. I think it was very important for the Asia Cup for either Sri Lanka or Afghanistan to win, because if मतलब if India was not winning on my side, because अगर cup चालू हो जाता है, I become very unobjective and I want India to win everything. But now the cup is over, and we've crashed out of the Super Four. We didn't make it to the final. I think it was good for the Asia Cup because Sri Lanka was a cricketing force that was on the decline.
Hmm.
It had its highs, and last few years it was just lows. And मतलब इतना बुरा हाल था कि last World Cup में everyone was celebrating the one win over England because no one was expecting them to win over England, right? Like we grew up in an era where we would mortally fear Sanath Jayasuriya when he came on the crease कि आज तो ये फाड़ेगा, and
Yeah.
then Ravinder De Silva and so forth. So this is very important for Sri Lankan cricket, and people forget what winning tournaments does, right? It creates a little bit of a buzz in the country. Sri Lanka is going through a lot as a nation as well right now, but it creates a little bit of buzz. It ensures more and more youngsters take up cricket and so forth. So it is good. It's good that and what is important is Sri Lanka won batting first. And
Mhm.
let's not forget, India could not defend a total of 170 plus. India could not defend a total of 180 plus. Sri Lanka defended a total of exactly 170. So it was.
So you know what the irony is, Adit? I did not know about it. Sri Lanka has not even qualified for the World Cup till now.
See, that's what I'm saying.
They
You-
have to qualify for the World Cup.
yeah,
I did not know this. I only found out about this while I was watching the highlights and the commentators mentioned it because that's how much I follow T20 cricket. मैं T20 क्रिकेट की भी हाइलाइट्स देखता हूँ. मैं से
हाँ.
T20 भी नहीं देखा जाता, मैं उसकी भी हाइलाइट्स पैकेज देखता हूँ.
कुछ आर्ग्यू करेंगे कि T20 खुद ही हाइलाइट्स पैकेज है,
हाँ,
बट
मैं हाइलाइट्स की भी हाइलाइट्स देखता हूँ. मैं टेस्ट मैच पूरा देखने को तैयार हूँ. बट लेट्स टॉक अबाउट, ओके, सी ऑब्वियसली वी हैव टू टॉक अबाउट टीम इंडिया in the Asia Cup. Now, Shekhar also tweeted about this कि what is wrong with our bowling, but I mean शेखर गुप्ता, मैं ऐसे शेखर बोल रहा हूँ जैसे लोग बोल रहे होंगे कि कौन सा शेखर है भाई. शेखर गुप्ता ने एक कल ट्वीट किया. बट ओके, व्हाट डू यू मेक ऑफ आवर bowling attack? First of all, let's start with टीम इंडिया के ऊपर एनालिसिस पहले करते हैं. Okay, what did you make of टीम इंडिया? Let's start with the bowling.
first of all, I think I was hard pressed to find what is our combination that we are going with, right? You cannot have that situation कि अगर रविंद्र जडेजा इंजर्ड हो गया तो oh my god हमारे बैलेंस का क्या होगा and so forth. If you are a team serious about winning the World Cup, you have to have basically a plan. The first conclusion that I had, that Hardik Pandya and his fantastic emergence as a batsman, a bowler, and so forth, he cannot play the role. If you get 4 overs from him, it's a bonus, but he cannot play the role of bowling all 4 overs in a game, right? You need someone to share that duty, and Ravindra Jadeja fit that bill perfectly because वो थोड़ी bowling भी कर सकता था, थोड़ी batting भी कर सकता था, and they are hoping that Akshar Patel would be an as like for like replacement. But if you go beyond that, right, who are your frontline spinners, right? Ashwin is playing one game, he's not playing the other game. The one game he does play against Sri Lanka, he does well. So I don't know, why do you not play him against Pakistan, right? Ravi Bishnoi in Chahal जब खेल रहे हैं, right? Ultimately यही हो रहा था कि Bishnoi, he's going to bowl a googly that goes across from the left hander. Chahal was bowling leg spinners that went the other way from the right hander. They worked when they bowled with pairs, right? So Bishnoi worked with Lucknow Super Giants with Krunal Pandya and someone else was bowling on the other end. Chahal worked for Rajasthan Royals because Ashwin was bowling the other end. तो आपने अगर वो ये वही रोहित और राहुल वाला किस्सा है, बट विल कम टू बैटिंग लेटर, राइट? सो देयर आर दोस टू थिंग्स कि यू आर नॉट डूइंग दिस. सेकंड, द फेलियर ऑफ आवेश खान, लाइक आई मीन, okay, let's not use the word failure because it's a big word, but the disappointment of Avesh Khan. I was actually hoping that after the IPL he and Harshal Patel are sort of our two death over bowlers and stuff, but Avesh Khan was being hit all over the parking UAE. Even the first match that he played against Pakistan, he did not do very well. Hardik Pandya could get the 4 overs in. And then Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, you saw a different bowler bowling the first 3 overs and a different bowler bowling the 19th over. Twice when he bowled the 19th over in the crux stages, he gave away 19 runs in one and I think 13 or 14 runs in the other. And you can't do that, right? Arshdeep was bowling the last over. दोनों cases में एक में 8 रन चाहिए थे, एक में 7 रन चाहिए थे. So the game was pretty much over by the last over, right? So our death bowling is seriously suspect, and our power play bowling, we are just not able to pick up a wicket in the power play. Like all these against the first game against Pakistan, I think we picked up Babar Azam, and then the second, I think Babar Azam was picked up in the 6th over or the 7th over. I forget when. But against Sri Lanka, 11 overs, nothing, right? So, I mean, I'm not even looking at the game against Afghanistan. At that time, the poor Afghanis were also tired. They were battered. They had their share of close games, and then India was just essentially, had 200. So we knew they were going to win. But if you look at the games that we played against Pakistan, both the games in Sri Lanka, these two things were the biggest suspects.
Yeah, see, I'm not going to discuss the Arshdeep incident because I think it's just ridiculous and we not need to give credence to Pakistani troll bots and troll farms. But why I'm talking about the Arshdeep incident is this. Everybody went after that poor kid, but honestly, nobody has discussed that 2 matches back to back, Bhuvi bowled very bad second last overs. एक में उसने 19 रन दिए, एक में शायद उसने 15 रन दिए भुवी ने. Does that mean he's a bad bowler? No, I'm not saying he's a bad bowler or anything because he picked up a fifer against Afghanistan in the very next match after that. So it is what it is. But the point is, I think a poor Arshdeep, how do you expect him to defend 7 runs and 8 runs in a T20 match in the last over? Credit to Arshdeep was, यार उसने फिर भी 5वीं बॉल तक लेके गया वो मैच को. वो 5वीं बॉल तक ले गया उसको.
No, absolutely. I mean, he took it to the 5th ball and he was bowling the Yorkers. I mean, he took Asif Ali out. Abhi, dekho, catch drops. I myself, first reaction was like, "Arey yaar, here goes the match," right? Because it was the match, dropping the catch. But ho jata hai, right? Even after the catch was dropped, you expect your bowlers to bounce back because catches do get dropped. It's fine. I mean, of course, but we are not going to get into the whole Pakistani troll bot discussions and so forth. Where I think India was missing Jasprit Bumrah big time because Bhuvi also can operate a lot better with Bumrah if Bumrah and Bhuvi are both holding the ends, right? Is Arshdeep a good opening overs bowler? The first 6 overs, I'm not so sure about it. Unless the ball is swinging, I don't think Arshdeep is a very good the first 10 overs bowlers. He can bowl very well in the death, right? But then Punjab when he plays for Punjab Kings in the IPL, he only has to bowl 1 over up front, right? All these players, except for Bhuvi, right? No, none of them really do the role that they were expected to do when they are with Team India. They always have someone else. और हम लोग क्या करते हैं आईपीएल के स्टैट्स देख के people like okay, oh yeah, आईपीएल में तो this guy is doing well, he should do well for Team India also. The biggest example of that is KL Rahul, but we'll talk about that when we're discussing the batting for the World Cup, right? And Kushal, I think eventually, whenever you had a chance, just pull up the World Cup squad. We can, probably talk about it in simultaneous thing for the
Already
World Cup.
opened.
Jasprit Bumrah, um, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Harshal Patel become your three seamers. Right? Bhuvi has to bowl because I think we need this one swing bowler. Right? Where I'm a little surprised is I'm surprised not to see Deepak Chahar. I think Deepak Chahar is in standby. I would
Yeah.
rather have Deepak Chahar over Mohammad Shami. In the team, a lot of people are saying, I mean, I love Shami. He's done great for Gujarat Titans, but Shami can be a little inconsistent. So I would rather have a Deepak Chahar who is swinging the bowling and him or Bhuvi in the lineup Bumrah plays all matches and Harshal Patel plays all matches. That would be my first three seamers.
मगर तुझे नहीं लगता है कि if anything the Asia Cup proved was that we are lacking the second tier of our bowling in T20 cricket, क्योंकि अगर भुवी होता था तो डेफिनेटली थोड़ा टूर्नामेंट की रियलिटी शायद अलग हो जाती थी.
Bhuvi, you mean yeah, koi aur?
सॉरी, जसप्रीत बुमराह.
हाँ, sorry, Bumrah. हाँ, okay. Sorry, okay. I agree completely. I think if Bumrah was there, then the complexion would have changed. Bumrah would have bowled the 19th and Bhuvi would have bowled the 20th. So then the complexion changes. Your best bowler in your lineup is effectively your second best bowler when your best bowler comes back, right? And I am a firm believer of big match players, right? So I think Ravichandran Ashwin is that big match player, right? Ki even Sri Lanka ke samne he comes and hits a six, in the last 10 balls or something. Essentially him and Yuzvendra Chahal bowl in partnership और वो match तो खत्म ही हो चुका था. Like I was tweeting that only a minor miracle can save India, and it was 3 wickets in 3 overs or something that Ashwin and Chahal like played just to give us a false sense of hope कि अभी भी कुछ हो सकता है in this match, right? So when you get big match players, they actually perform. So you can't just go by, oh ye, first of all I don't understand this nonsense. Oh ye left handers hai, ye right handers hai, to main off spinners ko nahi khilaunga. Yeah, when the left handers come, man, you bowl your best bowlers when you have a chance. You just don't go by when is the left hander is coming, when the right hander is coming. And did you hear about that insane thing that since Jadeja was injured, that's why Rishabh Pant was playing, because left hander hai to left hander आएगा. I mean, what logic is this?
या बट एक्चुअली तूने जडेजा की बात की तो मैं जडेजा के बारे में ही पूछना चाहता था. हाउ मच ऑफ अ ब्लो इज जड्डू नॉट प्लेइंग फॉर अस गोइंग टू बी?
Unfortunately, I think we should take every match that Ravindra Jadeja plays as a bonus, because I just don't think he's at that age and injury level where he's going to be able to play all games. Like I think this is what the third or fourth time in the last 3 years or 4 years he's missing some part of the tournament. He's 33. He does bowling, batting, and gives it all in his fielding and everything. मुझे नहीं लगता कि. So here's a controversial thing I'm going to say, Kushal. The modern day cricketer will not last you as long as Sachin Tendulkar did. They will not last till 38, 39. They will last till 34, 35. That's it. Because of the IPL, because of everything. Sachin only played IPL the last 4 years of his life, right? 2008 से खेलना उसने शुरू किया. He was already 30, 35 back then. So I think Jaddu and all, it's going to be very difficult for us to. But it's a big blow. But I don't think it's a body blow. As in, I don't think India can't recover from it. I think Akshar Patel is a good like for like replacement. And even if we cannot do Akshar Patel, I think
बैटिंग अक्षर पटेल की बैटिंग थोड़ी ना जडेजा जितनी अच्छी है यार.
वो तो नहीं है.
फील्डिंग.
No, I agree with you. But in general, this Indian team is a great fielding unit. So I know Jadeja is a huge miss. I mean, I even love Jadeja in the Test team. I think where it throws it off is now Ashwin has to come at 7 to bat. So it has to be Ashwin at 7, Bhuvi at 8, and then 9, 10, 11 are Bumrah, Yuzvendra Chahal, and Harshal Patel. Actually, Harshal can bat. So, I think that it's very important that our middle order now gets very brittle.
Yeah, on fielding, how does it feel to watch Pakistan field? Isn't it the most entertaining sight on planet Earth?
Did you
see that clash between the two in the final? I said,
So actually, Pakistan has the best video. I think there's a video on Twitter doing rounds where there is, I think Australia का कोई batsman है जिसने हवा में मार दिया, and both the Pakistan fielders are like looking like this, and then looking to the ground और दोनों के बीच में ball आती है, right? So it's
that
very
has happened
funny.
Not once, it has happened twice with the Pakistanis with two different combinations. So I think they drill this thing.
Clearly. No, I think when the first or second game we were playing against India, and Pakistan was genuinely fielding very well in the second game. And someone was tweeting, यार ये हो क्या रहा है? Why is Pakistan fielding so well? And then that Fakhar Zaman incident happened when in the last over, Yuzvendra Chahal hits 2 balls. No, Ravi Bishnoi hits 2 balls for 2 fours, and he drops both the catches. They were straight down his throats. Not only does he drop them, he palms them over for 4. And they're like, "Acha, okay, this is back to normalcy." No, but actually, if I was a Pakistani fan, I would be very concerned. because this just tells me, looking at Pakistan, like they chased down 180 against India, but essentially that too was like because we also bowled quite poorly in the last 5 overs. Pakistan otherwise was in quite a bit of trouble chasing that 180. Unko 10 over mein, I think they needed 108 or something like that. I think Pakistan is not a very good chasing team. It's really not. And for the World Cup in Australia, where the wickets are bouncy, they're not going to be these pattas of UAE, which turn great for batting in the second innings. It's going to be tough for them to chase when the ball is bouncing around.
Yeah, so एक क्वेश्चन ही ले लेते हैं. Why is फर्स्ट पार्ट तो हमने आंसर कर दिया. Why is Bishnoi on standby seems a better bowler than mystery spinner in the last World Cup? क्या है तेरा take?
Uh, Bishnoi is a good bowler, right? But I think I have seen far too, like, he also has to develop. I think he needs to be mentored a little bit with a senior spinner. I think the minute you take him down, take him for runs, he becomes a little too predictable. Rahul Tewatia kind of showed how to bat with him in the IPL. He reverse swept him for six because, googly dalta rehta hai, right? So he reverse swept him for six, and then he got confused and started bowling half volleys on leg stump. And Rahul Tewatia, essentially that was the match against the first match with Lucknow and Gujarat played. So I think Yuzvendra Chahal is still our first spinner, but you have to understand that Akshar Patel cannot be our second spinner. In Australia, I think Ashwin has to play. If Bishnoi has to play, then it has to be Ashwin or Bishnoi. You cannot have two leg spinners playing in Australia. It just won't work, because there is a very like a sameness in their approach also with which they approach this, with which they approach left-handers and right-handers. So it either has to be Chahal or Bishnoi, and it either has to be Ashwin or Akshar Patel, depending on what wicket it is, right? Also, second thing, Kushal, we are playing a lot of games in Melbourne or something, right? I think we are playing two in Melbourne, and then one is also on a bigger ground, I think in Perth or Sydney, I forget. So the off spinner actually comes into play when the ground is not that small, because then they can't mishits cannot go for sixes, right? So you have big square boundaries, and that makes it more interesting. So I think they'll have to tinker around with the combination, but not too much. But what's the problem with India is still the top three. You cannot have these top three and expect to actually compete in the World Cup. I am shocked that we are going. I don't know what KL Rahul has done to essentially get this insane extended run and not get Shikhar Dhawan up in the top. Like, I actually feel very bad for
वर्ल्ड
him.
कप के बारे में बात करेंगे, मगर पहले हम लोग जरा ये कर लेते हैं. अभी चलो बैटिंग के बारे में
विश्लेषण,
बात
हाँ,
करते हैं.
बैटिंग के बारे में.
हाँ, एशिया कप. ओके, सो इज कोहली बैक?
अरे यार, ये क्या है, मतलब, there is, I'll tell you this. The reason there is a team in Texas called Texas Longhorns in college football, ठीक है? And the reason why I said अरे क्या है at Kohli's back is, Kushal, because they said this after this one tournament. वो पहले मतलब जीतते थे 10-15 साल पहले in American football, and then once 4 years ago when they won this game, no one expected them to win. They started shouting, "We are back!" And then the 3 years after, they've been doing horrible. So whenever they lose a game, people just post this, "We are back." So that's what I'm worried. कि अगर ऐसे कोहली का now. Three things have happened to Virat Kohli. First, that moniker of 100 is gone. So let's stop talking about the 100. I only place where Kohli needs to get hundreds is in test matches, right? He needs to get 90s, 80s in T20s. I'm absolutely okay with that. He just needs to get them at a decent strike rate. The problem with Kohli was that Kohli, agar jab khelta hai at 120, 130, the other person has to play at 150, 160. Okay? He played that Hong Kong game against where he was on like 50 or 40, 44 when Surya Kumar Yadav came. Surya Kumar Yadav ended up scoring more runs than him, right? And that is why Kohli could sort of do it. So I think that fluency was back in the Afghanistan innings that I saw, and some of the strokes were back. That pull shot, the pickup shot for six. So I don't think Kohli is back, but some shots that he had stopped playing or he wasn't as fluent while playing, they are back. What I want to say is this is the where the World Cup is happening is a blessing in disguise for Virat Kohli, because he has done phenomenally well in Australia. Whenever India has played in Australia, Virat Kohli has been brilliant. And if there was ever a chance to get a man of the series or win, I think this is Virat Kohli. What do you think? I mean, I personally think that he has a little while to go before he's fully back. Hence my
I have no
aggressive
clue.
reaction to it.
I don't watch T20 cricket, but whatever little I've watched, first of all, So look, he scored 100 and 150, right? That's what he did in the tournament. 100 and 150. So I think in a five match tournament, if you score 100 and 150 in a tournament, you've done reasonably well. And 1-0, and I think एक बार 36 या कुछ मारा था उसने, I don't remember. And look, will we get the Kohli of his peak where he just kept on getting runs? Never. Age gets to everyone. But if Kohli can mature himself into a better player, I think, he still has a lot to offer to India in all three formats of the game. So, okay, I guess he got 250s. So I think he this is as good as we can get from Virat Kohli in terms of the tournament is concerned. I think we lost the tournament not because of our batsmen, we lost the tournament because of our bowlers. Let's be very clear. हम लोग टूर्नामेंट के बाहर थे हमारे बॉलर्स की वजह से. हमारे बैट्समैन ठीक है फेल हो रहे थे मगर इतना भी कोई फेलियर नहीं था.
Two things: our bowlers and our finishers. We did not finish well against Sri Lanka and Pakistan. I think Pakistan में जिस situation में कोहली and जब छोड़ के गए थे, we should have gotten at least 200, right?
Yeah.
But still, given what stage Pakistan was of, 183 was defendable, 180 whatever was defendable also. मुझे याद नहीं 179 था 180 था, but whatever it was, I think it was defendable. With Kohli, you're right. You're absolutely. I think that's a very important point, that we are never going to get the Kohli of the peak again just because it was so unreal, right? The fact that Sachin Tendulkar hit a second peak at 37 is a bonus that all Indian fans should take and treasure it. ऐसा नहीं होता. What Sachin did between 34 and 38 is, I mean, I hate to use this word, but God level. Like, it literally is. You cannot go back in time and essentially and only geniuses can do this. Kohli is a genius, but this is very different.
See, I had to do it. I'm sorry, I had to do it. And this is why, the Cārvāka podcast or the Sham Sharma show has the best fans. हम आवाज करते हैं और हमें मिल जाता है. See, look at the beauty of this picture. Where is the ball? And look at like Shadab. Shadab is like, नहीं मैं पकड़ांगा ball, मैं भी पैसे देते ने मैच with खेडन वाले.
Shadab is
मैं
like,
कैच
आप बॉल को पकड़ो, मैं आपको पकड़ के दूं.
Yeah, I mean, this is so emblematic of Pakistani cricket. I mean, and their politics and that country and that economy, everything is in shambles, and they somehow still manage to function, which is something amazing about Pakistan. But yeah, but I had to. I sorry, I digressed there, but I couldn't control myself. I saw this beautiful photo on Twitter, and I had to share it. Shout out to the viewer who shared that photo with us. Look, but the Indian batting, we clearly have come to a point कि top three, which is KL, रोहित एंड कोहली. अभी कोहली के बारे में नहीं बोल सकते क्योंकि वो खेला ये टूर्नामेंट में.
No,
अगर
no.
तीन ठीक है
I think
मगर
this is the best Kohli has done in a long time, and Kohli, I think
केएल
Kohli had
का
an
क्या करे.
excellent tournament.
केएल का क्या करे. केएल को नीचे भेजे कि केएल को ड्रॉप
नहीं,
करें.
can you put up that squad again? I think देखो चीजें हैं. One thing is for sure, Surya Kumar Yadav is our number 4 in one days T20s going forward, and वो छेड़ना नहीं है. Like, I mean, I don't know if we should
ये
shout out
बैटिंग
from.
देख अपनी. रोहित शर्मा, केएल, विराट, सूर्य कुमार यादव, हुडा, पंत, कार्तिक. यार मेरे को तो कार्तिक क्या है वही नहीं समझ में आता है. मतलब उसने वो बांग्लादेश के अंदर अगेंस्ट एक मैच विनिंग सुपरसोनिक काम किया था, उसके बल पे वो कितना खेलेगा.
नहीं वो आई थिंक तो आईपीएल, यू डोंट वॉच आईपीएल एज मच, बट इस बार आईपीएल में बहुत अच्छा खेला वो आरसीबी के लिए.
यार मैं
सो
आईपीएल नहीं देखता बिल्कुल, मेरे
हाँ
से
भाई,
नहीं
आई
होता
नो,
देख.
बट that's why Karthik is there where he is, because उसका आईपीएल बहुत अच्छा था. But I think this is probably Karthik's last World Cup. I don't think Karthik is going to be there after in the next World Cup. In my opinion, if KL Rahul is the vice captain, they will get him to open the batting. I mean, if he's the vice captain, he's probably going to play all the matches. If it was up to me, I think it would be KL Rahul would be sitting out of the team for a
I
couple of
think,
times. Maybe Rohit and Virat to open.
can I make a wild suggestion?
Yeah.
I think for the World Cup, Virat and Rohit should open.
No, I just said, yeah, I agree with you completely. I think Virat and Rohit should open, and Deepak Huda should be number 3. Surya Kumar Yadav gets number 4. Then you have to decide. I think Hardik Pandya comes at number 5, Karthik at number 6, Ashwin at 7, Ashwin or Akshar, depending on what format you want, at number 7, and then Bhuvi, Harshal, Jasprit, and Chahal. अब कोई भी ऑर्डर कर दो. दैट इज माई 11 फॉर द वर्ल्ड कप. आई ऑनेस्टली डोंट सी हाउ केएल राहुल फिट्स इन. इफ ही डज, unfortunately, it will be at the cost of Deepak Huda, which is sad for the young man because he's done very well with the chances he's gotten. And Deepak Huda gives you that option of off spin as well in Australia.
So
So
किसी ने ये पूछा ही था, what about our opening combination for World Cup? Rahul, Rohit with Kohli, also Surya Kumar Yadav at 3. Huda is a waste at number 6.
I agree with them completely, but I think Surya Kumar should be at 4. He should play the floater. So if your opening stand is 105 for no loss in 12 overs, Surya comes at number 3. If your opening stand is like 12 for 1 in 3 overs, I think Deepak Huda comes in at number 3. Regardless, Surya Kumar Yadav has to play number 4. He is your in probably the top 3 batsmen, in the top 5 T20 batsmen in the world, if not in the top 3. Surya Kumar Yadav, uski game wo level pe hai. And some of the shots, the problem with Surya Kumar Yadav is, I think wo apne hi over confidence mein out ho jata hai kabhi kabhi. Like sometimes, he reminds me of what Rohit Sharma used to be 5-6 years ago, right? That it would be so amazing when he's on there and then out ho jaye, and you're like, yaar aise shot pe out ho gaya. But in this lineup, and looking at, I was a firm believer of Rishabh Pant playing the game. But looking at how bad form Rishabh Pant was in the Asia Cup, I just don't think Rishabh Pant plays in this team.
ऋषभ पंत ही खेलेगा यार, क्या बात कर रहा है? तो कीपिंग कौन करेगा? केएल
Karthik,
करेगा?
नहीं Karthik.
Okay, Karthik.
Yeah, I think Karthik deserves a chance over Pant because देखो Pant finishing नहीं कर सकता, right? Pant is your 4 or 5 player and your 3, 4 and 5 are set. It is either Kohli, Surya, Hardik or Huda, Surya, Hardik. So number 6 पे I think Karthik is a better choice than Rishabh Pant because वो नहीं खेल सकता. That's my take at least. I don't know what our viewers are saying on that.
So it is, I don't know. I mean, I think eventually KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma are going to open. Virat Kohli is going to be 1 down. Surya Kumar Yadav is going to be 4. Huda is going to be 5 or 6. Pandya is going to be there, and Karthik is going to be there. I think team होने वाली है शर्मा, राहुल, कोहली, यादव, हुडा. ये तो 4 पक्के हैं, नहीं 5 पक्के हैं. फिर छठा पांड्या, फिर 7वां बुमराह, 8वां कुमार, फिर 9वां चहल पक्का होगा. अभी बाकी तेरा टॉस अप है 2 में.
So do you think that they are actually going to not go with they're going to go with 4 specialist bowlers and then Huda and Hardik will share the 5th bowler?
Yeah, I think that will be
interesting. I mean, I see that strategy being adopted and I see that strategy being failing. Because in Australia it's going to be a little more challenging, but who knows, Hardik Pandya may work better in Australia than others have. Agar ye England hota, it was a no-brainer because Hardik Pandya, when the ball is swinging, becomes very lethal. Maybe with his bounce he might work. But ek cheez I'll tell you, which is kind of funny, right? When Rishabh Pant came along, you and I could have sworn that ye banda to T20 mein phaad dega, right? Now he's become a test match specialist wicketkeeper. Can you believe that? Would you have ever thought when Rishabh Pant came that uski jagah ek hi format mein 100% pakke, which is test match cricket? That is what is surprising and shocking in, if you ask me on this. But I'll tell you this, India, I hope India goes through, but India is still not the favorites to win this World Cup this time. I just don't think we have that squad. I hope we surprise everyone like we did in 2007. But मुझे थोड़ा difficult लग रहा है India. I mean, what do you think about India's chances in the World Cup this time?
इंडिया नहीं आने वाली है. इंडिया तो सेमीफाइनल में भी नहीं आएगी. मैं तो बहुत क्लियर हूँ उसके बारे में.
चलो, Kushal is more pessimistic about it than I am.
I am very clear इंडिया की कोई चांस नहीं है. Okay, so किसी ने क्वेश्चन दिया, do you think we need someone to fire at the top from ball 1? Currently Rohit, KL and Virat Kohli has the same style of playing which backfires when they get out after playing 35 balls.
मैं मतलब 100 मालों के टावर से चिल्ला के बोल रहा हूँ 6 महीने से that we cannot have 3 players batting at 60 or 40 of, वो you need one playing 60 of 40 and two playing like 30 of 10 balls, 20 of 8 balls or something like that. And who does that? ये भी नहीं हो सकता कि केएल राहुल एक मैच में खेलेगा और रोहित शर्मा एक मैच में खेलेगा. The reason why they have successful is because KL Rahul has Quinton de Kock playing with him with Lucknow Giants. Virat Kohli has someone else playing with him at RCB, and Rohit Sharma earlier used to have Quinton de Kock in MI. अब कोई और है, right? But again, they did not. Ishan Kishan hai, but Ishan Kishan, of course, that he comes up with challenges of his own. Can you believe that he was in our primary squad 1 year ago when the T20 World Cup was played in UAE? That's
ये
how
वो 15 करोड़ वाला है ना.
15 crore wala. So, but I think KL Rahul has to go, and someone has to tell him that, bhai, if you get out, like someone has to play the Romesh Kalovitharna role. If for all our 90s thing, 1996 World Cup में जयसूर्या तो मार ही रहा था, but रोमेश कलोविथरना तो ऐसा कभी लग रहा था कि आंखें बंद करके मारेगा, and they have to do it. Otherwise, there is no way India is going to work, because I don't think Virat or Rohit ki wo game hai that they can play all out dashers. If we do get a 150, 200 strike rate innings out of them, it is an absolute bonus, but they just won't be able to play that sort of innings.
Okay, so someone has asked, in the Asia Cup, we saw lack of big hitters in the last 3 overs while batting first. How can we fill that gap, as that's the difference between a 170 and 190 score?
Which is what I was saying, na? Keep against Pakistan, you would have gotten 200, right? And I think what you missed out was not having Karthik instead of Rishabh Pant. Rishabh Pant was struggling to.
मगर ऋषभ अगर ओपनिंग आ गया तो
नहीं यार, नहीं, वो नहीं खेल सकता ओपनिंग. How, if the ball swings in Australia, you think Pant is going to be able to hit across, the line? I mean, this is not. You can't charge down and hope कि मैं घुमा दूंगा और लगे तो लगे, right? I think Australia में it's going to be very difficult to open. Either KL Rahul or Virat Kohli are the only two people I would trust to open along with Rohit Sharma in Australia. I don't think anyone else works. So I just hope that if they play the 5 bowler strategy, I don't know. मतलब ये मैं completely off the. I don't know what people think about Ashwin as the floater strategy. कि अगर if you lose wickets, what Rajasthan Royals did, it actually worked for them a couple of times. I would not use the way they used Ashwin, but as a floater for him to get like 20 of 10 balls or something like that. If there are too many wickets that have fallen, like if they are like 40 for 4 or something like that, just something to think about. But I don't think Rishabh Pant can open. And if unless Pant improves his finishing issues, Pant ke liye the only place in the Indian T20 team was number 4. That is taken by Surya Kumar Yadav. So unfortunately, I don't see him fitting anywhere else.
Okay, do you think it's some sort of overall mental block when it comes to tournaments? Why do we do so well in bilaterals, but when it comes to tournaments, हमारी gigi बोल जाती है?
Very effectively put. I think a couple of things. I think too much shopping and changing. What was the last 11 that played under Indian colors? When did these group of 11 play with each other, right? This is the problem with sending 2 squads, right? It's very nice कि हम लोग इंडिया का एक squad test के लिए भेज सकते हैं और दूसरा squad one day के लिए, right? But that one day squad is not playing. So first of all, it's that, right? Second, what they're looking at, I think, is they're looking at individual IPL performances in isolation rather than looking at what came to. अगर बुमराह ने 5 विकेट लिया है तो you have to see कि end कौन hold up करके रख रहा है, right? And is that person who's getting that role, will that fit in the Indian life? Like Arshdeep was excellent in the death, but Arshdeep did not get you that many wickets in the first 6 overs. So what sort of thinking was it कि Arshdeep तो पहले 6 भी डालेगा? You needed a specialist bowler with Bhuvneshwar Kumar, like a Mohammad Shami, like a Deepak Chahar, to bowl in the first 6 overs, and then Arshdeep becomes your death bowler. But what India went with against Arshdeep and Avesh Khan, दोनों डेथ बॉलर्स, राइट? सो अरे अर्शदीप ने बहुत अच्छा किया लास्ट 6 ओवर में, आवेश खान ने बहुत अच्छा किया. अरे भाई, आवेश खान वाज बॉलिंग विद कगिसो रबाडा एंड एंड्रिक नोटियर. That's why he was doing that well in the death overs. So I think this is the problem, that we are looking at IPL performance. So these are all great individual IPL players, but we are picking them without that additional person who got them across the line.
I was just thinking, see, Team India में क्या होता है? These players play with each other all the time in that format. Wale it's test cricket, for example.
Hmm.
There is no super league kind of a thing. But with T20, what has happened now is the national team plays far less than the IPL teams. They tend to spend more time. They are more cohesive. Do you think in that way the team camaraderie and the team setup gets affected at a psychological level? Do you think that plays a role? कि ये लोग अभी now they are better franchise players than team players
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they
किसी
just
किसी
don't have any combination setting
वो
going on.
इंग्लैंड वाला किस्सा हो जाता है ना, when where that England in England in football World Cup, same thing कि EPL versus England thing, except India is actually does well at global tournaments. England has done once well in semi final, or remember what I was telling, we are back, England वाले भी शुरू हो गए, it's coming home and then crashed out in the semi final, right? So I think वही हो जाता है, right, that they are all great players, and England actually faced this in the 90s in cricket, where Nasser Hussain and Alex Stewart and Michael Atherton have said this, that in the 90s, it's the central contracts which weren't there. So everyone was like, well, I play for Derbyshire, I play for Warwickshire, I play for Kent. So Graham Hick, amazing player in the counties. Mark Ramprakash, legends in county cricket, very bad when they played as a team. और उनके लिए तो क्या था, they were only playing other countries in their step ladder to ashes, और वो कभी जीतते नहीं थे, right?
Hmm.
I think I fear if we are approaching our cricket the same way, that we are playing all bilateral series in the chop changing combination, then taking the 15 sort of best cricketers individually and putting them in a World Cup squad and hoping that that would work. Why did India work against Australia in the Border Gavaskar Trophy? Are you telling me that was a better team than what it is today? Absolutely not. That in talent and skill, I think this team is more skillful than that team that won 2-1 against Australia. But boss, they were playing as a team. मतलब unbelievable never say die attitude था कि some you found some heroes to do something. And for me, I think Harsha Bhogle said this also, and I saw this कि Bumrah and Ashwin were not playing the last match, right, where we
Hmm.
won. They were at the boundary line continuously in the ears of the bowlers, mentoring them, to ye kar, to wo kar, whenever they would come back, they would be cheering, drinks leke daud rahe, things like that. वो जो camaraderie है ना in the team, right? That is because you were, locked there for 4 weeks, and you say, I don't know if that camaraderie post the IPL in T20, because of it's very hard to get. It almost would ensure, like, the only way we are going to get it back is if BCCI actually decides that ये World Cup के पहले के 2 हफ्ते हैं, you're not going to play any cricket. All the players are going to train together. You're going to play games against each other, 8 on 8 or something like that, and then form that bond. Like I'm just thinking out of the box here, because if you are playing cricket till the last week and then suddenly showing up, there, अपने साथ वही हालत होने वाली जो वेस्ट इंडीज क्रिकेट के साथ है.
Yeah, but I think that is the future of cricket where basically cricket is going away from the national sport criteria to franchise criteria. I mean, बीच में क्या तेरे को पता नहीं है? Did you follow that entire fiasco of David Warner trying to play in the Dubai Premier League and
Yeah.
Cricket Australia was like, नहीं अंकल, बिग बैश खेलो. बोलता नहीं अंकल, मुझे उधर ज्यादा पैसे मिल रहे हैं, मैं उधर जाऊंगा. It's inevitable, रे. It's
No, it,
inevitable.
it is inevitable. But what I'm saying is there are ways around it, right? I think BCCI makes enough money to that. One thing, Kushal, I have to say, and we have a lot of time today, but we are going to cover all the topics. But before we end today, whenever we decide to, एक बार एशिया कप की कमेंट्री के बारे में मुझे डिस्कस करना है.
हाँ, रुक जा एक मिनट. उसके पहले ये तू
हाँ.
पंत के बारे में बात कर रहा था. किसी ने लिखा है पंत इज अ विकेट कीपर हु अ स्पिनर कांट ट्रस्ट एंड इन द श्रीलंका मैच आल्सो ही कुडंट इवन हिट स्ट्रेट विकेट थ्रो. I suppose he should be kept as only batsman, not wicket keeper.
I wholeheartedly agree with in terms of him keeping to its spinners. We were spoiled by Dhoni. Dhoni has been the most incredible keepers against spinner, I think, since I started watching cricket. I don't think India में spinning के against ऐसा कोई keeper आया है in the
नयन
last 30
मोंगिया.
years.
नयन
No,
मोंगिया.
no, not like Dhoni. Boss, the speed, Nayan Mongia was great, but the speed at which Dhoni would do stumpings और उसका जो perceptive instinct था ना, I mean, I am one of those who said that maybe Dhoni is too old playing in the 2019 World Cup, and maybe he was, but I think Dhoni spoiled us. when you watch the other keepers against, especially against spinners, you realize what. And I'm going on a bit of a tangent for 20 seconds here. Dhoni का biggest asset क्या था? ये वो बोल रहा था बॉस तू इधर डाल, तू इधर डाल. They said Ravindra Jadeja was a better bowler under Dhoni because, or even Ashwin. Ashwin is a better bowler now, but at that time when Ashwin would struggle, Dhoni would almost guide him कि भाई तू bowl यहाँ पे डालना, यहाँ पे रफ है, this that. That perceptive instinct I think is missing in Rishabh Pant. And when it comes to the quick hands to stumping and getting runouts and stuff like that, yeah, I think Pant is lacking a bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I wish someone would make a compilation of not the dropped catches but the near misses, right? Where देखो क्या है कि if the keepers don't stand, Ian Healy did these tutorials, right? If the keepers don't stand the way they are supposed to, when it comes to going for diving catches down the leg side or on the offside, they will miss because their technique is not correct. Their body weight, the way the balance shifts. So maybe some stats guru guy should do an analysis of Rishabh Pant's technique and have we missed, because I saw in this tournament we did miss a couple of catches because he did not go the way he was supposed to.
Okay, so how bad was the commentary in the Asia Cup?
Oh boy. When Ravi Shastri and Wasim Akram topped the commentators poll on good commentators in any tournament, that just, I like Ravi Shastri, okay, but I don't think he's the best in the world, right? But in Asia Cup he was far better. Maybe his stint with Sky Sports did him good because he was sounding very different and very fresh when he was commenting on the England series, because he was also doing a lot of England news, England South Africa and all those games. uh, the commentary in Asia Cup was pedestrian, absolutely pedestrian. Like, बीसीसीआई के पास इतना पैसा है, एशियन क्रिकेट के पास इतना पैसा है, काउंसिल के पास, यार they can't get better commentators to fight. I mean, this is the best you got in the countries. Like, you had Irfan Pathan. I mean, I wasn't a very big fan with Gautam Gambhir in the commentary box as well. मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था Gautam Gambhir commentary box में भी commentators को pep talk दे रहा है. करो उसको, बोलो उसको जाके. I mean, that's what Deep Das Gupta. It was bad. First of all, BCCI
तो
has all
हिंदी
this.
सुन रहा था कि इंग्लिश सुन रहा था?
इंग्लिश में सुन रहा था, ये सब इंग्लिश में थे. And
अच्छा.
Irfan Pathan was doing Hindi and English both, I think. So, and I haven't heard Hindi, but in English he was absolutely awful. Champion cricketer, great guy, but Russell Arnold, yeah. Why? Like, get Kumar Sangakkara from Sri Lanka or get someone else.
कुमार इज साइंड ना यार, वो स्काई के साथ साइंड है ना, तो इसका
हाँ, but so was
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होता है
Ravi.
ना.
So was Ravi. I mean, I
रवि
think
के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में ही मस्ट बी अलाउड टू, कुमार के
yeah. So
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में ही
there are
मस्ट नॉट बी
other
अलाउड.
commentators.
सिंपल.
No, there are other commentators also with Sri Lanka. This is just lazy. I think Wasim is okay. I think Wasim is a good. Ramesh Raja फिर भी ठीक है. Ramesh Raja तो cannot come
यार
because he's the
वकार
chairman.
यूनिस कोई कमेंटेटर है क्या? वकार यूनिस
वकार
को रखा था वो लोग.
वकार यूनिस
डिस्ग्रेसफुल
is like,
कमेंटेटर.
वकार यूनिस sounded like आपके गले के चाचा जी. मैं बोला चंगा बॉलिंग डाला. I mean, he sound like a chacha ji, right? I mean, it was just bad. And then Deep Das Gupta, and I mean, you had a litany of pedestrian commentators, for want of a better word. And I mean, they are very good people, I'm sure. But उनको either comment आप course कराओ commentary का या कुछ करो, because for the money that BCCI makes, the quality of broadcast in India, except maybe Harsha Bhogle, is absolutely awful. And Sunil Gavaskar, only keep Sunil Gavaskar if you're not keeping him on a BCCI contract, because an uncensored, uncontrolled Sunil Gavaskar is a joy to listen to in the commentary box. Agar BCCI contracts him, and if he's supposed to take one line, he also becomes very bad to listen to now.
The funniest moment was Sanjay Manjarekar trying to
Arey,
interview Ravindra Jadeja and asking him, "Are you okay to talk to me?" I mean, why is Manjarekar always constantly acting smart? Why is he doing it?
I think that is a natural instinct in him, and he's trying to act. He tries to be Mr. Goody Two Shoes and Mr. Over Smart at the same time. But think about it. अगर हमको global tournaments चाहिए, right? I've for long said that you should have a team of 10 or 15 commentators that India should have contract. Not BCCI should have contracted, but the host broadcasters, pay the host broadcasters for good commentary, yeah. And another thing which I absolutely hate is BCCI has effectively killed the radio broadcasting. India was the leader in radio broadcasting. England में अभी भी लोग BBC TMS सुनते हैं. Australia में they still listen to ABC radio, ABC Grandstand with Jim Maxwell. uh, if you go anywhere across the world, in United States, abhi main yesterday I was driving, to somewhere, and I was listening to the local football games on radio. It is common to listen. Dunia mein har jagah radio broadcast hote hain. In cricket, which had a very thriving radio industry, we've changed it and we've replaced it with these idiotic commentary teams or something which have become essentially a commercial thing. Revive the radio broadcast. अगर लोगों को पसंद नहीं आएगा, they will watch the match on mute and listen to the game on radio. मैंने ऐसे बहुत बार किया है. When All India Radio was used to happen in 2000s, when Prakash Wakankar, Sushil Doshi, all of them would give commentary, and वो तो simultaneous broadcast होता था, आधा इंग्लिश में आधा हिंदी में. BCCI makes enough money where even if it's a loss-making enterprise, you can have one in English and one in Hindi and have a great online stream and monetize it, have ads on it, but at least have avenues for players to listen to, consumers to listen to commentary. Don't have these, things.
I sympathize with the people who go through the torture.
No, and Scott Styris. I mean, I like Scott. Scott Styris was your. I mean, Mark Nicholas is not contracted with everyone. He could have been your world broadcaster. Like, there are so many other good commentators who are not commenting right now. They may cost you a little more, but so what? Invest in them. Like, if you want the Alan Wilkins could have been a great commentator. I don't think Alan Wilkins is doing any series right now. वो तो बेचारा इंडिया और पाकिस्तान की काफी मैचेस करता है, श्रीलंका की भी काफी मैचेस, और बांग्लादेश में, बांग्लादेश हैज मोर देन 150 मिलियन पीपल. आपको अतर अली खान के अलावा कोई और मिलता ही नहीं है. मतलब
वही चलेगा. जैसे रसल आर्नोल्ड है वैसे अतर अली खान.
अतर अली खान है. मतलब I mean, it's unbelievable. I would be insulted if I was a बांग्लादेशी कि हमारे 150 मिलियन. उसके पहले एक और कमेंटेटर था, शमीम चौधरी, वो रेडियो वाला कमेंटेटर था. बट लाइक with श्रीलंका, they just get what, पहले रसल आर्नोल्ड के पहले रणजीत फर्नांडो था. वो इट्स लाइक दैट कोटा रिप्रेजेंटेटिव कि एक वो जो है ना, इधर रसल रंजीत फर्नांडो गया, अब रसल आर्नोल्ड आ गया. Like, I'm sure there are Mahela Jayawardene could be a good commentator. I mean, why not give him a chance? But I have to say there is only one worse commentator than Russell Arnold in Sri Lanka, Sanath Jayasuriya. मैंने उसको टोनी ग्रेग को सुना था.
मतलब कमेंट्री करता है सनत जयसूर्या.
उसको भी चांस, मतलब मैंने कितने कमेंटेटर्स को कैसे सुना है कुछ नहीं. So Tony Gregg was talking. I think Tony Gregg talked for 21 minutes or 22 minutes out of the 30. Sanath Jayasuriya just said yes. No, it was very bad to listen to him. So I think ex-cricketers don't make good commentators all the time. Nasser Hussain, Ian Bishop, Simon Dool are exceptions, not the norm. And I think we should probably go back to broadcasters, like professional broadcasters doing commentaries. Maybe news channels, new people need to bring that. And if it creates a bit of rifts in the commentary box, so what? Because people like Gautam Bhimani, Harsha Bhogle have said that there are a lot of egos with ex-cricketers. They don't want to listen to producers. They don't want to listen to analysts. और उनको अपनी फाड़ नहीं है. And because of that, you get very pedestrian commentary experiences. They've said this on many various podcasts.
Yeah, I think क्या बोले अभी. I also think it has also got to do with too much cricket now. There is just so much cricket that पहले क्या होता था, you would not have that much cricket. You were not fed up of the noises or the voices you were hearing on when the game is on. Now what has happened is there's so much cricket, right? You know what words a person is going to use to express, because at the end of the day your vocabulary is limited, right? Yeah. I can tell you as a content creator now, I'm sure people who listen to me regularly will know my speech patterns, my speaking patterns. So it's a very natural process. I kind of sympathize with commentators in that sense, but I hear you. But you have to understand human beings are predictable too beyond a point. We are not going to come up with, like, there is a handle on Twitter what tweets of Bhogle, like he will kind of create tweets on the basis of how Harsha Bhogle would do commentary. The word beautiful is added or wonderful is added, kind of stuff like that. Now the point is that that's understandable because Harsha is a human being. I still think he's one of the best cricket broadcasters. And what do you expect? He's going to come up with new things every time. I mean,
No,
can
but that's
you?
fine. No, no, I agree with you. But I'll tell you something else. I agree with you on that completely. That you can't expect Nayapan every time. But you have see Sky Sports. We just have to look at Sky Sports, right? They added Ian Ward. Rob Key was okay, but Ian Ward has been excellent addition to the Sky Sports commentary team. Isha Guha has been brilliant, right? She's contracted with Fox Sports, so I think we can get that too. But I think it just requires them to be like either commentators have to go through, some training, or ex cricketers have to like. India has some excellent female cricketers as well. I think there are some very good budding
Yeah, they could get
commentators.
Mithali. Mithali has come on as an
Yeah,
analyst, right?
yeah, and I have heard a few in. I'm not a fan of Anjum Chopra, but at least it's a start, right? And I've heard a few doing Gaurav Kapoor's podcast, right? Gaurav Kapoor does this fantastic 22 Yarns podcast. Need no. I mean, someone like a Joy Bhattacharya, who's a cricket, who talks about cricket. Why not get someone like him on as an analyst, right? Like, I'm just throwing left field choices, right? Like you can completely, but there are a lot of analysts out there. Like, have you heard Jared Kimber? You know, right? Jared Kimber hai, and then Adam Collins. They're all doing radio commentary in Australia. None of them are professional cricketers. So if Australia and England can find all these, Jeff Lemon is doing commentary. So you can find one of those to do these Asia Cup tournaments, and as a overseas panelist, and that'll be fantastic. They'll give you insights. Jeff Lemon, in fact, I recommend this because all of our, I'm assuming all the watchers, people we have, and we have a healthy viewership today of watching, they are all cricket lovers. Read this piece by Jeff Lemon. मैं link तुम्हें भेजूंगा कुशल. Please tweet out. We'll tweet out the link on Channel 9. Jeff Lemon wrote a 3,000 word piece on how Channel 9's broadcasting was brilliant during Richie Benaud, and how it turned really bad, with James Brayshaw and others coming in. And that actually revamped the commentary circuit in Australia. And that piece, that maybe we need someone like that. It's a fantastic piece. And then he realized that people like James Brayshaw and Michael Slater, they were doing all this buddy buddy bro thing. That's how they sound in real life. So essentially what they've done is, rather than making it a commentary, they've just basically taken their outside life into the commentary box.
But that's
So
what most people enjoy. So I'll tell you, this has the same debate in mixed martial arts, which is something
hmm,
that I follow far more closely now than maybe cricket now.
hmm,
Outside of Test cricket, I don't follow cricket that much. But in mixed martial arts, so there is this constant debate on which combination is the best combination in the UFC commentary box, right? Is
hmm.
it Joe Rogan, John Anik, and Daniel Cormier, or it's Daniel Cormier, uh, Dominic Cruz,
Yeah.
Paul Felder, SSL. So the thing is, a lot of people often say, "Oh, Rogan and Daniel Cormier are too pally pally. They sound too friendly." But that's the point. Most people enjoy that. They
Hmm.
don't want an overly technical analysis. Maybe you and I, and we are purists, so we want an overly technical analysis. But at the end of the day, it's a business decision, right? These people, the reason they must be doing it in Australia is like, okay, tell me, Isha Gua, who's that guy who keeps laughing all the time on his jokes?
Kerry O'Keefe.
Kerry O'Keefe, Shane
He's
Warne, and all these
extremely
people.
fun.
Yeah, he's fun. But the point is, they all also sound like friends talking to each other. Let's just face it.
Yeah. Yes,
That's the
but
whole
Australia,
point.
no, 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 but Australia realized that and created two broadcasts, right? So Australia
Mm.
has one broadcast for Fox, which is the more matey coverage, right? But it also has the Channel 7 broadcast, which is the more refined view. I think BCCI can create both experiences. अगर क्रिकेट ऑस्ट्रेलिया विद अ बजट हाफ ऑफ बीसीसीआई कैन क्रिएट दोज राइट तो बीसीसीआई तो कर ही सकता है दिस इज जस्ट लेजीनेस आई थिंक in the Indian, why can't we have two broadcast studios? England maybe BBC was broadcasting and Sky Sports broadcasts, right? So we can have two broadcast studios in English. एक वर्ल्ड फीड करो where there is a more nuanced commentary, और एक ये सब करो जहां दीपदास गुप्ता और मुरली कार्तिक को खुला छोड़ दो.
So someone says, adding pain to the misery, they were showing photo stats of the commentators on Test
Yes,
cricket before
yes,
they came up to commentate, as if being an ex-cricketer
yes.
is a credential to being a good commentator. That's a good
Oh,
point. I did not know
thank
this. These
you.
guys
I
are
completely
crazy.
forgot. The next Scott Starris, 130 international appearances. Ravi Shastri, 230 international appearances. I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is just unbelievable.
No,
And
so so there are expert commentators who break the technique down, but then there are play-by-play ones, right? So Harsha Bogle does the play-by-play bit, right?
yeah.
And like in UFC, John Anik is the play-by-play guy. He may not get
Hmm.
the techniques right, but he's the play-by-play guy. He'll talk about the ads and everything and all of that stuff, and
Hmm.
keeps the conversation going. So my problem is in the commentary. It's not the expert that is problematic. It is the play-by-play guy. I think that's the most important element is the play-by-play guy, right? They are the
Yes.
ones who keep me. The reason Harsha Bogle was so good was he's the best play-by-play guy in world cricket.
Absolutely. And that's why Mark Nicholas, same thing. Mark Nicholas,
Yeah.
Harsha Bogle, Nasser Hussain, they're fantastic play by play guys. And they can, others can be the analysts. And Kerry O'Keefe, that's why he was great with Harsha. But by the way, and we'll leave this on because we want to jump to England, South Africa, but I'll leave on one hopeful note. You were talking about Dinesh Karthik. I think he's a phenomenal commentator.
His
We
interview of Kohli and Rohit Sharma was
No, no,
really
no,
good.
no. Forget that, Kushal. I think so. When you India was playing England, right, last year, in India, you get the Sony Live coverage where Harsha and Sanjay Manjrekar were doing. Over here in US, we get the Sky Sports coverage. Dinesh Karthik was a full time commentator for Sky Sports, right? So
Hmm.
not just the interview. I'm talking about the calling. He was outstanding, outstanding. And Michael Holding asked him a very pointed question, and for this, I think Dinesh Karthik deserves a lot of love. He said, Dinesh, you're still playing and commenting. Does it get really tough for you to distance yourself from India as the player, as the commentator? And Dinesh Karthik said, yes, Mikey. Sometimes I actually say we won. I should not say that, but slowly I'll get back. And Michael Holding said, that is awfully honest of you. Can we ever have an honest moment like that on Indian commentary? I don't think so. But we do have Indian commentators who are, becoming very good. Dinesh Karthik is one of them.
Hmm. Hmm.
सो
Cool.
हैड टू थोड़ा थोड़ा तो गुड चीयर मतलब स्प्रेड करना चाहिए ना कि इंडिया में सब बकवास नहीं है कमेंटेटर्स एक दो
Yes.
अच्छे हैं.
Yeah. And you know what? I think commentary is complex. It's a very tough art. As someone who speaks all the time, I can sympathize with them. Is all I can
Hmm.
say. Okay, let's
Hmm.
talk about England versus South Africa. England beat South Africa 2-1 in the recently concluded Test series. Good news for India because now we have still got hope for the World Test Championship, I guess.
Yeah, and great news for world cricket, yeah. Because South Africa is playing very well. They give England a run for their money. Not in the last Test match. India, Australia, to hey, matlab. So you have the top four. South Africa is back in the top four. So it used to be the top three in Test match cricket, but I think South Africa is there. And South Africa is there because of their good old fashioned bowling. Like, matlab, wo jo purana dabdaba tha na South, for the want of a better word. In bowling,
Hmm.
it was brilliant. But man, can we talk about James Anderson? If we talk about Sachin doing crazy things when he was 38, yeah, he's 40, man. He's 40. There are two world cricketers that I world sportsmen, sorry, I don't know if they age. So if one is James Anderson, and if you follow American sports, it's Tom Brady. Yesterday night, that man is 45. He won a game at 45 yesterday in his first game. वो NFL खेलता है. It's an extremely physical sport, and he came out of retirement for it. But man, James Anderson. So South Africa के सामने, the two things England is going to be very happy. First, the re-emergence of Stuart Broad. Stuart Broad picks up 7 wickets in the last game. Ollie Robinson picks up 7 wickets. James Anderson to hai, and Ben Stokes. Right, Ben
Hmm.
Stokes is bowling out of his league. Second, the way they played Jack Leach. उन्होंने जैक लीच को डिफेंसिवली नहीं यूज किया. They on where it was turning, they used him quite aggressively, because England में problem ये है कि they only use spinners to hold up one end, right? So that was one thing. Second, I think Zach Crawley, he was having a horrendous year, but then the last match he smashed 69 of 57 balls in the second innings. His return to form is a huge plus, and England was convincingly blown away by South Africa in the first Test match. So for them to come back from them, right, and for Ollie Robinson and Stuart Broad and James Anderson, those three to shine. So now we can conclude that James Anderson, Ollie Robinson, and Stuart Broad are the attack for England in England. But out of England, only two of those three will play, and there'll be Mark Wood will be the fast bowler. Because
Hmm.
what team? डिलो डाल रहे हैं. सेकंड थिंग, आई थिंक इंग्लैंड हैज लर्न टू विन बियॉन्ड जोफ्रा आर्चर, बिकॉज लेट्स फेस इट, जोफ्रा आर्चर मुझे नहीं नहीं लगता कभी भी टेस्ट क्रिकेट खेल पाएगा. That man keeps fracturing and damaging his tailbone and knee bone and all sorts of things. And I mean, I feel for him. He's a fantastic bowler, but he gets injured far too often for England to be completely reliant on him. He cannot be breaking down more than James Anderson is at 40. There's something that's not working there, or something that's permanently, causing giving him an issue. As far as South Africa goes, man, four fast bowlers. When was the last time you said that? Four dangerous fast bowlers of South Africa.
Yeah, and imagine if Andrik Nokia was playing that test series
No, he was.
against us.
Oh,
Against us.
against us. Oh man, I can't even imagine what that would have been like, right? But four excellent fast bowlers. Keshav Maharaj playing very well. Where I think South Africa will take heart is the emergence of Keegan Peterson. Keegan Peterson, yeah, he out again, he's like that Rohit Sharma mold. When he plays, man, usko dekhne ko man karta hai, but then he gets out to the most dumbest shots and you're like, bhai kya kar diya tune, he just basically Keegan Peterson, like in the last test match also, he left a ball that he should have been playing and he got out, and then he dabbed at an outswinger, right? But till he was doing that, he was looking fantastic. So I think that is good. That is good thing for South Africa. They'll have to do the whole balancing act with how many players they play in the quota and how do they play and so forth. And uske liye, they'll have to ask questions about how they want to elevate certain players and how they don't want to elevate. But I think South African cricket is on the ascendance, and ironically, I think the South African Premier League, where all the six teams are actually owned by IPL franchises, is going to help South African cricket big time, because it's going to introduce them to all these youngsters. That's at
Yeah.
least my perspective on it.
To me, it's quite clear South Africa's batting is rubbish, to say the least. The difference in the series was South Africa's batting was poorer than England. And what was very interesting is England won the series in spite of Joe Root not making any significant contribution.
And Johnny Bairstow not playing the last Test match. I mean,
Yeah.
Bairstow is in godlike form, and I mean,
Yeah.
usko bhi yaar kya hai
By the
yaar? I
way,
mean,
Bairstow is going to miss the World Cup, and that's a body blow to England.
it's a huge blow. I
Because
think a
if
big,
you ask me, I think England were the favorites before the Bairstow, in my opinion. Now, I don't know who's going to win the World Cup. I say New Zealand wins the World Cup.
yes, but then England with, I mean, with Ben Stokes going away, I don't think, although Ben Stokes was a very phenomenal, what you may call T20 player in any case, but I think Joss Butler, man, it all depends on Joss Butler and who does it. Alex Hales opening with him actually
They
is
did
very.
not pick Jason Roy for the
Jason
squad.
Morton ने Alex Hales को लिया उसके अलावा instead of them him. Another completely dark horse contender, I would say, is Sri Lanka. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
not going to say Sri Lanka is going to win the T20 World Cup, but I think Sri Lanka is going to cause a lot of scares and upsets, because Sri Lanka has some excellent all-rounders. Dasun Chanaka is one of them. उनका जो captain है वो. Then Vanindo Hasaranga, the bowler. I mean, he was outstanding in the final. And let's not forget, Sri Lanka has played Australia quite a bit, including the tour of Australia, where I agree they did not do very well with the the, I'm sorry, the test matches, but they did do very well with T20s and one dayers and stuff, and they got very very close. I think in that ek bar the game tied in the T20. Australia again ran them very close in the last couple of games, and then Sri Lanka won the last match. So I think Sri Lanka would be the dark horse. West Indies, though, obviously, hey, but West Indies is, of course, a team of 11 great players. We don't know if they're going to go. Like Andre Russell, we don't know if he's going to play the World Cup.
Hmm.
So things like that. So but the format of the T20 World Cup is such that upsets will not get you through. I think you'll have to play. Afghanistan is a brilliant team, यार. मुझे उनको देखने में मजा आता है. If I mean, I feel sad given the political situation and the whole situation in their countries, because I don't know what the future holds for them. But I think Afghanistan is poised to do very well. Again, get some upsets out in this World Cup as well, according to me.
What do you make of Ben Stokes as a captain? Do you think, I honestly felt he has added a new zeal to the English team, or it's too early?
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you. I think he's added a huge zeal to the English leadership. I think this whole baseball and all that is nonsense. I think this is more like the Stokes ball, if for the want of a better word. I think he's playing phenomenally well, and long term impact इसका England cricket के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा है. I mean, this is great long term impact for England cricket. So, but I will tell you this, Kushal, ki, to be really honest, if you ask me what was my take long term on England thing is that England have changed their style of approach where they don't think draw is an option. To win a test match, जहाँ उनके पास सिर्फ 3 दिन थे because of the Queen's death and all that, to force a result like this is quite brilliant. And I think this is a sign of things to come, and world cricket should be very worried in a good way. I'm saying of England, they should be very worried of England of what they might do. By the way, one sad thing, this is like one of the last test matches for another 2 or 3 months. I don't think there is any test matches happening now.
नहीं, अभी कम से कम 4 महीने टेस्ट मैच नहीं है. अभी शायद इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया इंडिया आ रही है, इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया जा रही है. एशेस का भी है. मेरे को एशेस के बारे में बात करनी थी.
No, Ashes though is a fair while away. Ashes is a year away, but I think in first though, very interestingly, England is touring Pakistan in a couple of weeks, or actually next week. England is touring Pakistan for 7 T20s internationals. 7. And मतलब उनका schedule बहुत simple है. आधी लाहौर में है, like 4, I think 3 are in Lahore and 4 are in Karachi. So, and the Pakistanis are joking on social media a few minutes before that England is always like a lot of English players are going to pull out. Then to answer your question, Australia is coming to India for 3 T20 games. That's also next week actually. And then I think India and South Africa is coming to for T20s for 5 T20 games. That is right after Australia. So this is a crazy schedule actually, if I may say so, because Australia
वर्ल्ड कप है ना अक्टूबर में, तो ये लोग इतने मैच खेल रहे हैं.
No, not just that. Here is the Australia schedule: 20th, 23rd, and 25th, and then South Africa starts from 28th. So India is playing a T20 match every 3 days, starting next week for the next till the World Cup essentially. हर 3 दिन पे एक T20 game है.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's absolutely, I agree. So we are, and I hope no one gets injured and we don't do a lot of chop changing thing. What is interesting is this time there in October is a return of the Tri Series in T20 cricket in New Zealand. Pakistan, Bangladesh, and New Zealand are playing T20 Tri Series. So Abhi, I'm curious to see how that pans out, because Tri Series are back, and so I mean not only cricket. Abhi, for the next 2 months, you're only going to see T20 cricket, nothing else, internationals. It's all seem a preparation for the World Cup. So it's kind of sad. But I think the next test matches probably will start in October or December, when England tour test matches, England tour Pakistan for test matches. And I think India is also just doing ODIs and test T20s against New Zealand. So I think the first test match is not till November, which is 2 months
Australia
from now.
comes to India to play test matches, right? When
In
do they-
February. I
That's the
cannot
time when
wait for that.
cricket starts. For me, that's the time cricket starts.
And I don't know how many test matches are there this time, but I know for a fact that when the next ICC FTP kicks in, all India Australia series are going to be 5 test matches now.
Yeah, and honestly, that's how it should be. That is the marquee premier event in world cricket.
Yeah, I mean, it is insane that it is five test matches, and I'm going to see that where it is. Border Gavaskar Trophy is going to from 2023 to 2027 in the next FTP. So basically, I think ye wala to nahi hoga, but the next time when we play, that's going to be 5 test matches in Australia in 2024. And given how interesting and gripping the contest is, why not, right? Like, I mean,
मगर
but
ऑस्ट्रेलियन समर होने वाला होएगा ना, दिसंबर में तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया में टेस्ट मैच होते हैं ना आदित?
हाँ, नहीं नहीं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया फरवरी में आएगा 2023 में, आई एम सेइंग इन 20 तो
who's visiting ऑस्ट्रेलिया? दिसंबर
वेस्ट
जनवरी इज द
इंडीज,
ऑस्ट्रेलियन समर.
वेस्ट इंडीज
वो कौन देखने वाला है?
एंड साउथ अफ्रीका, ओ नो, साउथ अफ्रीका वेस्ट इंडीज के
वो
साथ.
देखूंगा मैं, वो देखूंगा मैं, वो
Yes. So
देखूंगा.
yeah, so West Indies is going in October, and there is going to be a South Africa tour of Australia, where I don't know if there are test matches. Yes, there are, but after the World Cup. So Boxing Day, Christmas Test match, and New Year's Test match. They're playing three. I think even that should be four, but that will be amazing to watch. Australia v South Africa. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. Aaron Finch resigning was a insane development. A month before the World Cup, he was the captain, but he realized his time was up, and he was not, doing that well as a captain and as a player, and he resigned from the Australian team. That requires a lot of guts to do that.
Hmm.
आई डोंट थिंक, मतलब ये जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया का वो है ना कि knowing when it's time to go, I don't think India will ever have that sort of culture in that. Someone somewhere will outrage कि क्या चल रहा है, why this, why that, and all that. I mean, I don't know. What do you make of that culture?
I don't know. I think the Australian culture is also equally messy. I mean, the way they dealt with the Justin Langer issue was pretty shitty. I think, um, beyond the point, human beings are human beings. I think the Western media tends to present their bullshit better than we tend to present our bullshit. Let me put it that way. I think the
Yeah.
Aussie, that's what it is. Other than that, maybe, I mean, Aaron Finch just could not take the heat, and he did the right thing. I think he was struggling in his form, and I listen to the great cricketer to stay abreast with what's happening in world cricket. That's my
Fair.
source to stay abreast in world
Hmm.
cricket, and it's good to listen to other perspectives outside India. You
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
them or you not, it doesn't matter. You
No, no,
listen to the
absolutely.
perspective.
Oh, I think they're phenomenal to listen to.
I like the Great Cricketer podcast. I think they're entertaining, and you get to listen to a global cricket perspective. So they were talking about Aaron Finch a lot.
Hmm.
Uh, it's very interesting how Zimbabwe beat Australia in that match, and that had created a lot of discussion um, about the whole thing. But okay, let me take a couple of questions and then we'll wrap it up. Somebody had said Mohammad Shami, I think they mean, is on the standby list. Do you think
Huh.
selectors can alter the team after T20s against Australia and South Africa and include him in the 15 based on his performance? Yeah, I think they can.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't see why not. But if you ask me, I think Deepak Chahar is probably a better fit than Mohammad Shami. That's my perspective, at least.
Yeah.
Because,
And
uh, yeah, sorry, go on. Mhm.
so somebody else says, what about Sanju Samson and Shreyas Iyer?
Sanju Samson here, I'm still not convinced with him.
डॉक्टर नोमान न्याज का सबसे फेवरेट प्लेयर है संजू सैमसन.
What about Rashid Bhai? Does he also like Sanju
राशिद भाई
Samson?
को संजू सैमसन से ऑनेस्टली मैं तेरे को बोलूं, आउट ऑफ देसी एनालिस्ट, द वन आई एंजॉय द मोस्ट लिसनिंग टू फॉर actual analysis is Rashid Latif.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He,
He's actually very
he
fun
is
to
very
listen to.
balanced. He doesn't care. He will give you how he sees it. And it doesn't have to be pro India or pro Pakistan or anti India or anti Pakistan. I just like the way he analyzes. I watch Shoaib Akhtar at times just to laugh. अब मैं सिर्फ हंसने के लिए देखता हूँ.
Shabi.
Yeah. But
he,
I thoroughly enjoy watching Rashid Latif breaking things down. I genuinely enjoy him.
नहीं देखो क्या है, शोएब अख्तर हैज अ पर्सनालिटी टू कीप ना. आई थिंक शोएब अख्तर के बारे में अ लॉट ऑफ इट इज फेक. लाइक सो मच इज जस्ट फेक कि बस ये दिस इज माय पर्सनालिटी, आई एम, ही इज दैट. उसको कभी कभी मैं देखता हूँ ना, वो शाहिद कपूर का वो फेक उड़ता पंजाब, आई एम द गबरू, लुक एट मी, पर्सनालिटी है, राइट? तो इट्स अ वेरी फेक ब्रवाडो. Otherwise Shoaib can be actually a lot of fun because वो दिल से बोलता है जो भी है, but he's almost like the Salman Khan of cricket commentary. कि he'll talk about himself in third person कि एक बार भाई ने बोल दिया तो मोहर लगा दो. राशिद लतीफ को he's playing for his YouTube audience and he very well knows कि आधी audience उसकी पाकिस्तान के बाहर से आती है, not just India, from from maybe from Bangladesh also, and things so I think that is why he's breaking it up. And मुझे उसकी wicket keeping breakdown बहुत पसंद है, because he's a keeper at heart, right? Because आजकल ऐसे बहुत commentators कम है, probably Ian Healy, good wicket-keeper commentators. I mean, I can't think of very many in the world right now who can break it down. Ki, this is the Dinesh Karthik, like I said, once he's done playing, he'll be a good wicket-keeper commentator. So we need more like those to get that perspective. Should you have gone for the catch? Should you have not? And that's why I'm going to miss Shane Warne terribly this summer, man, in Australia. And when Australia comes to India, like Shane Warne had his flaws as a commentator, but he was engaging, right? वो कुछ भी, I remember this one bit on Channel 9 where he talked about pizza, and it turned into a huge sort of discussion, and Australia started weighing in on what kind of pizza people like, and do you like the ones with toppings and stuff like that. And my thing is, yes, some people could say it's not the most purest cricket thing, it's not the commentary of Richie Beno, but it's engaging, man. He had got 100,000 people or 200,000 people in a boring match, like a relatively boring period of cricket, engaged, not for the cricket, for the thing, and then a wicket falls and everyone's hooked onto that. That's the
Yeah, but
power of Shane Warne.
there's only one Shane Warne. The game is going to miss him. He was such an asset to the game. I mean, nobody needs to know how much of a fan I am. I think in my life after Sachin, some one player
Yeah.
that I loved the most after Sachin was Shane Warne.
I will do an
Right?
absolute shameless plug here. Kushal, me and Nikhil did a fantastic tribute to Shane Warne. Please listen. वो दिल से हमारा निकला था. Please,
Yeah,
please.
yeah,
It's on Mind. It's on the Mindmakers YouTube channel. Please watch it. I mean,
yeah.
and
I
do.
love Wani. I love
Yeah.
Wani. For me, he made my childhood wonderful. Like Sachin Tendulkar, Shane Warne, Mike Tyson, all these players, they made my childhood amazing. Like, and Mike Tyson is the another guy that, for me, I can just watch their videos again and again and again.
Yes.
I don't get tired. You don't get tired watching them, and it's okay. Different people have different tastes. But yeah,
Hmm.
before we wrap it up, any other thing that you want to talk about? Okay, somebody. Okay, give me your semi-final predictions for the T20 World Cup.
India, England, New Zealand, and between Sri Lanka and Australia.
Okay, yeah, mine is going to be England, Australia, Sri Lanka, and I think it's going to be Pakistan.
Fascinating. Not South Africa.
No, South Africa nahi aayegi. I
मुझे भी
don't
नहीं
think
लगा
so.
था.
Yeah, they're not gonna come. They're not gonna make it. All right, buddy. As always, thanks for coming, and it's fun chatting with you.
Absolutely.
And looking forward to our next chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just on cricket. आपके लिए तो elections की भी काफी खबर है. So for all our electoral viewers, we are going to have a fun election time. अब तो वो भी time आ रहा है in the next 3 months.
Yep. Yeah. So, guys, we'll wrap today's discussion up. Please follow Adit on Twitter, and you can go and check out the Mindmakers YouTube channel too. As far as I'm concerned, you know the drill. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave your comments below. And if you want to support the Chabak podcast, you can do it by becoming a member on YouTube or a subscriber on Patreon, or buy the Chabak podcast merch or send your donations via UPI. We'll see you next month again, hopefully with another cricketing discussion. Until then, namaste, take care, bye bye.